accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org. Across Native communities, tradition and connection guide every step. Make voting a tradition, or MVAT honors that spirit, helping generations come together to shape the future of Native communities. By learning from each other and sharing knowledge through trusted relationships, MVAT helps build trust and make sure Native voices are heard. Voting is more than a right. It's a way to protect the needs of your community and build the future you want. Vote together, stand together. Learn more at makevotingatradition.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 33, Thursday sunny with a high near 52, and Friday sunny with a high around 57. Unleash your cravings at Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Dive into a world of flavor with their signature Philly steak, tantalizing turkey bacon avocado, and an array of mouth-watering options like crispy chicken and fish. Pair it perfectly with freshly fried fries or golden onion rings. Unforgettable sandwiches. That's Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. A Karagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, today we got our friend Arvina Martin coming on of Emerge, Wisconsin, and love talking to her. We talk about what's happening politically, nationally, locally, and also a great insight of what's happening in Wisconsin. And we like to hear from her and talk about things in a good way. And of course, I really love talking to her about Emerge Wisconsin and the great work that she does and the people all involved with Emerge all across Turtle Island. Before I get her on here, I want to mention a couple things. And one of them is this is kind of near and dear to my heart. I'll be bringing this up almost every day, I'm sure. And it's on November 1st, the gathering of our children, the welcome to returning adoptees and foster children and adults powwow is happening at the American Indian Center. And it's a very powerful powwow, and please come on by, support it. And then, of course, all our relatives across Turtle Island. I met people from all over the country that have been adopted and have come back home, and it's very It's a very heavy duty experience, but also uplifting, and of course, really want to see the mothers come too. It's not just about the adoptees, and there's a lot of trauma that and healing that happened that's from the trauma, and I just wanted to mention that too. Another thing I wanted to mention too before we get Arvina on is on November 6th too, we're doing Riani Ozzy's film Winter's Love at Minneapolis Institute of Art, and that will be 6 p.m. And then I want to give you a couple more dates too, real quick. And then we're going to be showing on the 23rd at 2 p.m. Indian Horse. That was a 2017 movie, and Ajawak will be there for Q&A, and I'll be emceeing that along with Rihanna Yazzi's movie. And then Smoke Signals on the 29th at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. I'll be talking more about that later, but it's great. It's free. And it's a lot of fun, and it's go see those movies in a big screen with a bunch of people. It's something that COVID kind of messed us up on, but I'm glad that we're able to do that. And I'll be emceeing all those and for the Q&A section of it, and so stay tuned. And again, really excited about the adoptee. It's the 19th annual adoptee gathering of our children, welcoming and returning adoptees, foster children, and adults. So come on by and put that on your calendar right now. I want to bring on Arvina Martin, CEO of Merge Wisconsin. Always great to see you, Arvina, and thank you so much. You'll be the only guest that we need today, and I really appreciate you and being on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a good day to do some radio.
Yeah. Oh, hey, lot going on, but I wanted to ask you first, were you out for the rally of No Kings? I think I did see some pictures that you posted.
Yeah, I actually did not make it out because I was doing recruiting and such for Emerge at Hunting Moon and doing a little shopping. So I had gone out to Hunting Moon powwow to talk to Native women.
Yeah, that's awesome. And tell us a little bit about that, how that went.
Yeah, I mean, we are having good responses. I think that having a Native person running the organization does give Native women, and I hope it gives Native women more confidence that this is going to be a program that's going to be led in a way that where their identity is not going to be like a hindrance in the group. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that their identity, whatever it is going to be respected, and they are going to be able to take things and apply it to their situation, because we don't want cookie cutter candidates. We want to empower folks to apply training, or campaign techniques, campaign strategy and tactics in a way that is authentic to who they are, because that's what's important.
Yeah, it is important, and I love that we're talking about this and what you're doing there, because I think this is what we talk about when we need to take action of what's happening nationally and locally. And so, big ups to you. We all do this in a different way. I don't know if you saw Wendy's sign, but I had a sign that said "too many issues for one poster" on my sign. So that's
Nice.
what's happening. But you're taking care of one of the issues, and that's bringing back Wisconsin to when I was young, back to blue.
Yeah, that we've only gone red these past two Trump years. Trump candidacy is Wisconsin did go blue in 2020. But I mean, I think that we are actually like the definition of a purple state. Like, we are so close in so many ways. It's just I mean, it's just a strange microcosm, I guess, that defies labels.
Yeah, I agree. And the further away you get from the tall buildings here in Minnesota, the redder it gets. So it's amazing too, because we always talk about, hey, how is the orange one getting away with this? Well, Minnesota's right in there because we have red representatives across the state too that are not calling them on, whether it's Epstein or tearing half the White House down.
Yeah, I mean, we have the same thing here. You know, the majority of our representatives to Congress are Republican. That may be changing in the near future, thanks to some more equitable maps. And you know, it's disappointing to see the stands that so many of these Republican legislators, congressmen, our Senator Ron Johnson, who you know refused to see all of the effects that this is having on their constituents and American people. You know, they're pledging their fealty to the orange one, and they're not there to represent their constituents because they're hurting, honestly.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that too. Thanks, Arvina. Not only we really need to get ready to help our relatives. And I talked this with State Representative Heather Keeler yesterday about just plain food. You know, check out your cupboards and start donating to these food shelves for our relatives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, people should be considering what's going to be happening at once November rolls around. I know that that folks that have the means, you know, go out there and pick up staples, ask what a food pantry needs, and donate or donate money to a food pantry. You know, a lot of our neighbors are going to be needing this, and I've actually had some folks reach out about sharing some information for folks in Wisconsin. You know, to call 211 or go to the 211 Wisconsin website. They can help you find sources of food, whether it is, you know, gift cards or that something like that for food, or for food pantries. And if you have an account with the Department of Health Services, make sure you go to their website to opt into text and email updates, because, you know, as we get closer to the end of the month, things may be changing rapidly, and you can get the most up-to-date information as it happens. So, you know, everybody, let's look out for each other. Let's share resources. You know, we need to be able to help each other out.
Right on. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thank you for your continued riding with Metro Transit.
Across Native communities, tradition and connection guide every step. Make voting a tradition, or MVAT, celebrates that spirit, helping generations come together to shape the future of Native communities. MVAT has empowered Native American communities by bringing friends and families together to talk about important issues and sharing helpful information about how and where to vote. By learning from each other and leaning on trusted relationships, MVAT helps Native communities feel confident in voting and making their choices heard. Voting is more than a right. It's a way to protect the needs of your community and have a say in the future. MVAT has been helping Native communities across the state for 9 years, creating stronger, more engaged communities every election. Vote together, stand together. Explore a fact sheet that explains some of the elected offices on the ballot and why they matter to you, your family, and your community at makevotingatradition.org. That's makevotingatradition.org.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Wake 'em up. Whoa. Wake me up. Hey, welcome back. This is Native Roots Radio, and we're with our friend Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge Wisconsin. And we're talking, I really want to kind of hustled you off at the very end there. I think it's very important. Maybe you can bring that up again, just a little bit about the food shelves and how people out there can support, because I felt like I was kind of rushing you off there, and maybe you can just bring that up again.
Yeah, for folks that get food assistance in Wisconsin, there's actually like nearly 700,000 people in Wisconsin that use food access programs. And at the end of the month, we don't know what's going to happen if the government doesn't reopen. People won't get their food benefits. So in Wisconsin, Governor Evers has been recommending that folks look at the 211 Wisconsin website you can call 211, like just 211, and they will connect you with someone who can help you find access to food, whether it's food pantries or grocery stores that just anything that could be of assistance. And also, if you receive those benefits and have your account through the State Department of Health Services. Sorry, I'm trying to find the actual website because I wrote it down instead of. Oh, it's access.wi.gov and opt into the alerts, because at the end of the month, when things could be changing very rapidly, you'll get the best and most up-to-date updates there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing that up again. That's so important for our relatives. And again, we're on civic media, so we're on 20 stations across Wisconsin too. So very important for our Wisconsin listeners to hear that too. One of the things I wanted to just comment on real quick before we get into something else is, with the issues that come up daily, it seems like in our states and in our country right now. It's very, we ran an ad, make voting a tradition, and I just love that tagline. And I just want to give them a big shout out to be really out there in advertising and, boots on the ground year round, because this is a year round energy that we need to keep going.
Absolutely. We need to, use that energy to get everybody that we know. Sorry, I have a cat here. To make sure that we get people to the polls, but also stay engaged. Follow up on what those people that you voted into office, what they're doing. Make them earn their vote to be reelected. Hold them accountable to things that they say or do, or bills that they may offer or author, and keep up with that. Go to events where elected officials or other leaders are, and talk to them. Make sure that the people that represent you know what you think and believe, and it's it's going to help us have better candidates, because people are going to have to pay attention to their constituents. They're going to have to vote in ways that support things that you support, and this is how we get things done. It's very idealized, but we've got to keep that energy moving.
Yeah, and that's why I really believe it's so important to have you on weekly to talk over these things, because we have a big following. Everywhere I go, I run into people that have listens to our show, and it's just exciting. And I hope people reach out to you too, because it just blows my mind that we have so many listeners out there, and I know they really enjoy you too, Arvina. I hear that too. So it's exciting because sometimes we talk into this and we feel like we're in a vacuum, but we really aren't. We really are speaking our truths, and it's really hitting base with people out there. And again, how important all these elections are. You sent me something about something that's very disturbing to me about the GOP person running for governor.
Yes, Congressman Tom Tiffany, who has announced that he is going to be running for the GOP nomination for Wisconsin governor for next year, is a sitting member of Congress, and he maybe a year ago had introduced a bill that would make the Apostle Islands in Lake Superior a national park, and that didn't happen with tribal consultation. Red Cliff is right there, right on the mainland side, and Madeline Island is a very important place for our Ojibwe relatives, and there wasn't any language to make sure that treaties would be continued to be honored, that tribal members would be able to hunt and gather and practice traditional ways on those lands. That's not part of that legislation that he submitted. Nothing happened, and he resubmitted it about a month ago. And Red Cliff is very strongly proclaiming that there was no tribal consultation, that there haven't been anything, even like economic impact statements or environmental impact statements have not happened. There has been unsatisfactory communication from his office to the tribes, and that's somebody who wants to run our state and wants to interact with the 11 federally recognized tribes of Wisconsin. Also, remember, this is the guy that asked the Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Justice, to prosecute Lac de Flambeau because they stood on their treaty rights to protect the access to the road that nobody else was paying to use.
Wow. Yeah. Well, again, this is something really important to bring up and have people really, from all over Turtle Island. We get people listening from all over. It's really important because chipping away at our sovereignty is a thing.
Absolutely. And he's sitting here in a congressional position where he can be showing his how he works with tribes, and he is showing us how he works with tribes. He doesn't. And sees tribes as antagonists. And somebody like that does not deserve a vote for Wisconsin governor.
Yeah, and we've been lucky to have Evers for so long, and the respect that he's had. I just want to remind us, it was crazy when COVID hit, and we talked a little bit about this over the past few years. That Governor Evers and the lieutenant at the governor at the time came to Ho Chunk and see how we were giving out vaccines and how we were giving out vaccines to the whole community, not just our elders and not just our native tribal members.
Yes, sorry for the dog as well.
No, that's okay. I got to tell you something, Arvina. You probably don't remember this, but we used to have when well, maybe you weren't on, but Wendy would always do the segment at the end of the show, and the cat would bust through the door and meow, and so we love it and we're used to it. So it's a good thing.
Cute.
I just wanted to ask you real quick too, though.
Yeah.
I saw your cat, and he kind of matches your couch. Was that on purpose?
Well, the other two cats are black and white, so they all kind of averages out.
Yeah.
Plus the dog, he's kind of that color too. He's white and gray spots.
That's so cool. Yeah, we love our sacred animals. We really
Yeah.
do. But so we're used to barking, and we love when they talk to us.
Yay. Yes, he's noticing somebody. So well, I'm trying to remember what your question was. It was about about our response and how it was recognized by Governor Evers and Lieutenant Governor Barnes. That was great, and I think it shows how tribes are an asset in terms of planning to cover everybody. It and should be considered in all things like emergency plans, public health plans, and it just shows our values as Ho-Chunks about taking care of each other. And I can't say it. Wugihite. Yeah.
What I was going to say is, that 1 minute sign's all upside down. I couldn't even read it. But I say, with the last 30 seconds here, I just want to remind all our listeners out there and all our allies that we're a sovereign nation. We're like, if you're dealing with Germany or something. And so that's the kind of rights that we talk about. And I know a lot of times that isn't taught in school, and we need to re-educate and educate and remind our friends out there listening to the show that it's an important thing that we've signed all these treaties like all these other countries across the world with the United States.
Exactly, and those are they're not special rights. There are treaty rights.
Absolutely. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge Wisconsin, and it sounds like 3 cats and 1 dog too. So we're excited. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Hoa.
We've all seen the effects of wood smoke pollution this year, so before hosting that backyard bonfire, follow these simple tips to protect yourself, others, and the environment. Remember to give your neighbors a heads up before building a fire so those who find wood smoke bothersome can close their windows. Make sure to never burn wet or recently cut wood, other yard waste, plastic, or garbage. These things can be toxic when burned and create excess smoke. For more tips on how to burn responsibly, visit epa.gov/burnwise.
All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. October is here, so Halloween is right around the corner. And if you're thinking of having a horror movie marathon with friends, you better make sure your home doesn't look like something out of one of those movies. Don't ghost your carpet this fall. My cleaning heroes at Zero Res can help get all those spooky smells and creepy stains out of your home. Carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, any surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Right now, you can get your entire home Zero Resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner, with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. But there's something even scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home, and it's in your air ducts. This month, take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning service. Don't let a missed deal haunt you. Call 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com today and ask for the AM 950 special. Backorder forward spells the same. Zero Res. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thank you for your continued riding with Metro Transit.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 33, Thursday sunny with a high near 52, and Friday sunny with a high around 57. Savor the excellence at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Elevate your taste buds with their range of sandwiches from the savory Philly steak to tempting turkey bacon avocado. Explore crispy chicken, fish, brisket, and pulled pork options. Check out mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, well, welcome back, everyone. Really exciting news. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but Shelley Buck is now running for state representative here, and she was the president of Prairie Island just as recent as 2 years ago. And so it's exciting again. A more Native people are picking up the torch and running. And if we don't have a seat at the table, well, we should pull up a folding chair and join them, but we can have our elected officials be one of us, and that's really great news.
It's incredible news every time. I'm so jealous that Native folks have representation in the state legislature in Minnesota. That's so cool, and have multiple. And we haven't had any yet, so hopefully that will be changing. I know I've mentioned, or she came on, Jessica C. Wright, who was a Emerge Wisconsin class of 2025, is running for state assembly, I believe in the 21st Assembly District in Milwaukee. And actually, part of that district includes the Ho-Chunk Nation branch office.
Wow. Well, and again, I want to remind you and remind myself too. Let's bring some of these people, these Emerge people on really, and then have you take over the show, because that would be great. And just to amplify what you're doing and what they're doing. And that's exciting. We got to have her on again.
Yeah, she has been doing quite a bit, and she was also at Hunting Moon, and unfortunately not the same day that I was, but she is such a hard worker, and she's very thoughtful. She is a social worker by trade, so she is just, she's smart, and she's very thoughtful. I think that the good folks of the 21st Assembly District would do well by electing her.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your travels there and what you do for Emerge. Before I do that, because we got a couple more segments here, I want you to bring up anything you'd like to do before I start grilling you about Emerge. So what else do you got on your
I was
plate
just going to
this
talk about
afternoon?
Emerge stuff.
Oh, let's do it then.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it. Let's talk about your trip and what that entailed and what you came out with, and let's talk a little bit about Emerge.
I think when when I go to a community event, it's not always, it can be okay to have like a table and something, but I think when people aren't familiar with the organization, people kind of like give those booths a bit of a berth, they don't really come and say hello or anything. And so for going to tribal communities, I think it's better to interact with folks one-on-one. That's not to say that there are not, that we shouldn't be doing events and tabling and things like that and at tribal events and such. But I think it's part of recognizing if that space is appropriate for such, an organization to take a physical space at. So, you know, I really do think it's those kind of one-on-one interactions that really can change a lot of folks and their and how they think about themselves, and going from seeing themselves as just average somebody into saying I have qualities that leaders need, and therefore and I can be a leader in my community, whatever version of your community that is. We train for folks to run for elected office, but the things that you learn in Emerge can really help in your outside life too. There's something very empowering about talking to folks and helping reflect their shine back at them,
Yeah.
and when they see that, when folks see that, it's really great. And it's also great to encounter especially Native women who already recognize and already know that they are talented and they are thoughtful and they are smart and they have the ability to lead as well. That is, I don't want people to think I'm just like coming up and I don't know.
No,
But
that makes
you
sense.
come in both flavors.
That makes sense, and that's kind of I taught high school for 30 years, and that was kind of what we did as teachers. At least I tried to, is that raise and then also have the ability for them to look at themselves not only in a critical, but also really the great things, that the attributes that they have and who they are.
Absolutely. And we're taught to be very humble, and we're not better than anybody else, and leaders aren't better than anybody else, but they do make important decisions, and it can be really hard, especially for Native women, um to be able to vocalize about themselves what makes them the best candidate for an office, because that's not how we're taught to talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I've worked with other Native women candidates who have felt very weird about that as well, and I kind of felt the same way. It's hard to talk about yourself.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that because I like to bring this up, but I always bring it up incorrectly because we go by city council members, but you were the first Native American, what would be in Minnesota, a city council person, and, that's, amazing. There'll never be another first one. So how did you deal with that, the way we were brought up, humble?
I just felt like my job, and as a Native person, as a Ho-Chunk person, as a Stockbridge-Munsee person, I felt like it was my responsibility to amplify the voices, um, and sometimes that meant me sharing what they were saying, and sometimes that meant, whether it's sharing videos of somebody's original content, or sharing, contact information, so the right city departments, or folks in the community know who to talk to within our nations, and to be able to, just make sure that their voices are heard as well.
Well, I just have to say this too because I've been around, Wisconsin politics the last 5 years, and whenever I see you and see other people in a political environment, I see so many people coming up to you, which is really, it warms my heart, and also reminds me how lucky we are to have you on Native Roots Radio once a week, not only speaking your truth, but the truth of the state and what's happening in Wisconsin and nationally.
Thank you. That's very kind. I do like talking to folks. I'm a pretty social person. I'm recovering introvert from COVID days. So, I'm not as social as I used to be, but I still, I want to talk to people. I always talk about those blind spots, and that especially when you are a part of a group, if everybody has the same experience, you all have the same blind spots, and your collective blind spot is huge. But if you have people with different experiences and different thought processes and different ways of working through problems and issues, a lot of those blind spots are covered, and you're able to create policy, in terms of elected officials, create policy that's going to do more for more people, rather than just continually serve the same folks that get services all the time, kind of thing.
Oh, wow. And that whole statement, I know you said this before, but that really struck me today. That could be a whole segment. That's amazing. Because again, we birds of the feather flock together, and we don't see past possibly our own feelings and prejudice and loves and joys. That's amazing statement.
Well, and not only that, but people needing to have open minds to be able to consider those other possibilities and those other options and those other experiences that their colleagues have gone through. That's not to say that like every idea is valid. We see a lot of superfluous things getting thrown out to distract the public from A, B, or C, but go in with good intentions, going in with good intentions rather, and being willing to listen to what people have to say, even if it contradicts what you think. It's that kind of contemplation that goes with this whole idea of like smaller blind spots because of diverse experiences. Yeah. I'm rambling now on ideal things.
That was amazing. Well, we only got a minute and a half here left, and I want you to give out all the information you can about Emerge and what's happening in the next week with Emerge.
Yes, we have our applications open. If you've ever considered running for office, please get a hold of me, ARVINA at emergewi.org, and I will help you navigate the system. And I'll go to our website, wi.emergeamerica.org, to access our applications. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. You should check us out there because we've got more announcements about our annual event, A Seat at the Table, that we are going to be hosting in Madison on November 6th, featuring the state legislative Democratic leaders, Senator Diane Hesselbein, who is also an Emerge alum, and Representative Greta Neubauer. And we're going to be talking about, the previous legislative cycle, what's coming up in 2026, what's happening with Emerge, and the importance of Emerge to what happens in 2026 and in the future.
Wow, that's exciting and excellent. We're here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and we'll have a few more things to talk about, but then maybe at the very end of the next segment, talk about those dreaded Packers, how well they're doing. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked or risk getting a citation. Thank you for your continued riding with Metro Transit. We've all seen the effects of wood smoke pollution this year, so before hosting that backyard bonfire, follow these simple tips to protect yourself, others, and the environment. Remember to give your neighbors a heads up before building a fire so those who find wood smoke bothersome can close their windows. Make sure to never burn wet or recently cut wood, other yard waste, plastic, or garbage. These things can be toxic when burned and create excess smoke. For more tips on how to burn responsibly, visit epa.gov/burnwise.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge, Wisconsin. And Arvina, just to follow up on your last thoughts there, that's just give one more shout out to Emerge Wisconsin. And then also, I love the statistics in the last two voting cycles. If you could speak to that real quick on how well Emerge has helped our community and our running officers.
Yes. So our alums that ran for office in spring and fall of 2025 won at about a rate of 90%, which is insane. And, you know, and I wouldn't feel bad if we dropped, you know, because that's really incredible rate for our alums to win. And you know, like it kind of makes me stutter a little bit about it. But you know, just it's a testament to the kind of training that we do to give our alums or our program members a you know, a toolkit of again tactics and strategies to use, and things that are you know, just the nuts and bolts, like how to knock doors, how to figure out which doors to knock, which phones to call, how to host events with, you know, to raise money, how to do call time, how to figure out how many votes you need. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, folks participate in the political process and think that they know everything that they need to run a campaign. And there's just so much that goes into it that it's night and day. And again, that win rate is a testament to our training programs and the amazing women that participate in this program.
Yeah, I just love talking about that and bringing that up. It's just amazing. If you guys are watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Blue Sky, learn more about Emerge Wisconsin. Go to w.emergeamerica.org. I just like saying that. Oh, okay. Time to possibly do a little gloating. Packers are moving and grooving. I'm sorry about the Brewers. I just want to jump into that real quick because I'm a big, as you probably know, a big baseball fan, and I was really pushing for the Brew Crew.
I mean, that the general consensus is that's what happens when you go against a team that has the resources of the LA Dodgers. You know, they just it's just the difference is massive. But they gave us an incredible season.
Yes, I was just going to say that too, not to take away.
Yeah,
I believe they had the most victories in the National League, didn't the
I
Brewers?
think I thought
It was,
so.
yeah, and so nothing to sneeze on. Just great to see, them back in there. And I was really, not to change the subject here because I know we're going to go in the pack attack here real quick. Is that I was really pushing for Seattle to be in their first World Series, and Toronto ended up winning, which is great because Toronto will be back for the first time since, I believe, 1993, and that's almost as big a drought as the Twins have had in the World Series in 1991. So I hope they take the Dodgers on, but yeah, it's hard to fight money.
Yeah, exactly. And before I switch to the other teams, shout out again to Brewer and member of the Navajo Nation, Anthony Siegler, who played this season as a Brewer. That was pretty cool to have him, on the field as well and up at bat and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Blue Jays in the World Series because always the underdogs. And I was a big baseball fan when I was a kid, and the first strike happened and I was so upset. And so I've never returned to baseball the same way I had before. But I remember having a little like plastic Blue Jays helmet thing they probably got out of a cereal box that I loved. And so I always liked the Blue Jays. And funny, as I got older, it must have been after their last World Series when they kind of fell off, and I forgot that they were still a team until recently. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've heard anything about the Blue Jays in 20 years. So good for them, and I'm rooting for them and take on that Goliath that is the LA Dodgers.
Well, and I want to mention this too, if we're talking a little bit about the Blue Jays. I saw some of the interviews after they clinched, and each one of the person that was interviewed mentioned how they're playing for Canada, which is is a little message for us Americans here. I do believe I did kind of catch that, and good for them.
Absolutely, they should be. Yeah, and the way they rep Toronto as well was very
Yes.
apparent that they're very connected to their community, and I think that's awesome. I'm a Green Bay Packers shareholder. I love the scrappy team with the community ties from the market that's not very big, coming
Mhm.
on up. That's my ideal sports movie every
Yeah.
time.
Well, not yeah, the Packers are from that small community, and it's amazing, and it's not run by one billionaire. It's just a million ten. I don't know how much it was. How much was it to get a share? Or can you even get a share anymore?
They put them out when I turned 18, so that's what I used my per cap on. Was yeah. So I think back, the team had just won the Super Bowl, and so they opened up Packer shares. So I turned 18, I had my per cap, and I think I spent like $200 on it, which to me at 18 was like, this is a big investment. Like,
Right.
yeah. So
Well, last year I was able to go see the Packers for the first time, and it was amazing. The people were friendly. The town is taken over, and that, like we were talking a little bit about Toronto too, how they back each other up. Yeah, I got to say this too before we get into too much more Packers with the 2 minutes left in the show. I remember I took a selfie with Paul Molitor, and I grew up with his sister. We're all kind of in the same neighborhood of Joe Mauer, Paul Molitor, Jack Morris, and Dave Winfield all live within a couple miles of each other, and it's amazing they're all Hall of Famers too, which and I asked Dan Gladden. I told Dan Gladden that, who is a former Twin, and he said, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Well, I couldn't hit the curveball." And he said, "Nobody can hit the curveball." I
I mean,
I
that's
couldn't
really
say.
remarkable to have that amount of talent come from a single high school.
Yeah, It's a single. There's two high schools, so it's in the area, Cretan, Highland, and St. Paul Central, and they're all within a couple miles of each other, and it's amazing. And I went to high school with Joe Mauer's mom too. So yeah, it's St. Paul is definitely St. Small. If you know 5 different people, you know everybody.
Right?
Crazy.
Yes.
So a minute left. I'd love to have you bring up Emerge again, and then we'll call it a show. And I really, really appreciate you hanging out with us the whole show.
Yeah, I'm always happy to be here. And yeah, so send me an email, Arvina, ARVINA, at emergewi.org. Let's talk about your potential to political candidacy. You have it in you. Let's talk about it.
Right on. Hey, you've been listening to Native Roots Radio. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. If you're listening to us, you're part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. We'll see you tomorrow and vote. Hoa!
This is Andietto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we get to know the amazing Teresa Hardaway, the owner of Black Garnet Books and creative director of Black